Hello everybody and welcome back to another comic review here on the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Night Terrors issue 4 by Joshua Williamson, Giuseppe Camuncoli, Stefano Nessi and Caspar Wingard. So my problems with this event continue this issue as we are pretty much at the finale of the book. This is technically the final issue, yet it feels like the ending of Act 2. We've just reached that Act 2 low point. We catch up with Deadman, who now has the Nightmare Stone and is wanting to use it on Insomnia's real-life body to cure him of his Lazarus Curse powers and end the nightmare sleep once and for all. Again, there's nothing new that progresses the story forward, and the story continues to feel so scattershot and sparse, which is a huge problem being the story is only 4 issues long, so it feels like it was something that was maybe 1 issue or 2 issues stretched into 4 issues so it can be a big DC summer event. Deadman does manage to get the stone to Insomnia, learning about his backstory, which really should have been done during issues 1 and 2, and really all my sympathy for the villain has gone as we learn that his family was indeed killed during what I believe is death metal when the Batman Who Laughs attacked Earth, and yeah, it's sad that stuff does happen, but it's what Chris says and how he reacts to the problem which is the real problem for me, as we find out that he and his family are big fans of the Justice League, and he just seemingly assumes that they would save him. He doesn't want to evacuate his family because the Justice League will save them if they get into trouble, and save his family before they save the world. It made me really dislike the character, but not for the right reasons. Like, you should hate a villain. You should hate a villain for his motives and what he's doing and everything, but here I hate him because of shitty writing. That's like an awful reason to bring about his motives, and to show us that is really quite terrible. I don't really understand what Joshua Williamson was really doing with the character, and it's super disappointing since, as I've seen and many other people have seen and read Williamson's other books like Superman and Green Arrow, which he's writing currently, and you can see he's a very competent writer who understands story structure and character arcs and everything, yet it's like, ironically, he's writing this while he's in a deep sleep. It's just a mess of pretty cool ideas that aren't meshing together properly, but he's like forcing them together to try and fit this story into 4 issues. So the big third act reveal of the issue is that Insomnia wanted Deadman to find the stone for him so he can bring it to him in the Nightmare Realm and then kill himself with it in order to free his power into the waking world. We've kind of known that all through the story, but again, when it's reiterated here, it just completely disregards most of what we've seen of Insomnia throughout the event, which is that he's been going into heroes' minds to try and find where the stone is, when he seemingly already knew that Deadman will know where the stone is, so he was going to let him get it for him. Why do those tie-ins exist? And obviously they exist to try and drum up money and everything, because there's like a dozen tie-ins, all based around characters no one really wants to care about. Like I said before in previous reviews, who the hell is reading an Angel Breaker tie-in or a Catwoman tie-in to an event that is specifically centered around the Justice League? So characters like Flash, Superman, Batman, they all make sense getting tie-ins, but people like Angel Breaker and Zatanna and Catwoman don't make sense. And it's just so frustrating since you can see the bones of a good event here. You could have had a really cool event featuring outside characters like Deadman and Sandman like Williamson is doing here, and it could have done it how they never usually headline big events, and this is all very new to them and they're sort of learning about how to do events like this, and they could get really kind of meta with it, with them sort of learning the ropes about like, okay, this is how you deal with a crisis in the DC universe sort of thing, and could have been a lot of fun, but it just is so disappointing to see it just be so scattershot and sparse of any actual motivation or structure. Now the issue ends with the cliffhanger that the nightmares become real and they're out in the real world now, all the heroes have woken up, so it makes me wonder, if this was meant to be the final issue, what's that special issue then? Since it ends with them saying it's going to be concluded in a special issue called Night's End, why not just call that issue 5? Why not just call that Night Terrors issue 5? Why does it have to be a special? It makes no sense, and it just reeks of greed and editorial mandate, turning what could have been a focused, smaller event into something large scale and unnecessary. Something that's going to be forgotten about within 6 months, really. Giuseppe Camuncoli, Stefano Nessi, and Gaspar Wingard finish up the story of Insomnia, and again, the artwork for this event across this main book and the tie-ins has been fantastic. It's an event that really lends itself to cool creature designs, interesting settings and environments, but of course an artist can be only as good as the writing they're given, the scripts they are given, and it feels like this issue was a little limiting to them, and it wasn't nearly as creative as the previous 3 issues, which had cool other worlds where Batman and Deadman sort of fused together into one costume, and, you know, just interesting looking creatures that Insomnia would send after Deadman and Sandman, and all these really cool things. It felt like all of that was kind of taken out of this issue because they knew, oh, it's coming to an end, we've just got to end it really quickly. Night Terrors issue 4 really was a complete waste of time, further proving to me that this entire event wasn't actually meant to be an event at all, thanks to a strung out, sparse plot and a villain whose motives are really quite stupid when you break them down. I'm going to give this issue a 3 out of 10. I suggest people just completely disregard it. It's not going to matter to anyone in 6 months, you know, a year from now. It's not really going to matter to anything, so you can probably give this event a complete miss.